Last week, Adrian Parsons threw a 90-yard touchdown pass that tied a school record. This weekend, Adrian Parsons threw a 92-yard touchdown pass, and that, of course, set a new school record. He had 4 touchdowns on the day as well. Is that enough to get him into our top 5? We'll talk about that. We'll see. And there are now four programs in the NAIA in football that have double-digit win streaks. Of course, one of those programs has a win streak that is in the 70s now. Can you guess which that one is? If I give you 3 guesses, the first 2 just do not count. So we'll talk about that and those teams a little bit more as we go on along. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad to be with you here tonight on Midwest Sportsnet. Thanks for watching. Shout out, by the way, to my good friend Jake Redcorn. Glad that you are on tonight. And Jake, hey, listen, you're going to get a message back from me. It's Sunday. We had a lot going on today. It is actually Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet's birthday today, and tomorrow is our 30th anniversary. So we have a lot going on around here, and I just definitely wanted you to know you were thought of today. Thanks for watching, everyone, tonight. Please let me know from where you are watching, especially if you're watching live. Let us know from where you're watching tonight. I have a good idea of where Jake is watching, and maybe, just maybe, you tune in after you get through watching Josh Pate's show. I have to tell you, big proponent of that show. If you like Division I football, that is the best show on YouTube. No question, hands down. But for small college sports, you are in the right place tonight. So we are going to do the top 5 performances tonight. We're also going to go beyond the 5 tonight. And just to let you know that we do not hit every single game of the weekend. We do try to hit a lot of good performances, especially the top 5, but there are some other performances out there, and you'll know some of these when you hear them tonight. Big time performances, big wins. We have a couple of teams that had an O in the win column prior to this weekend that finally got in the win column tonight. So we'll talk about that as we go. Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Let's go beyond the 5 tonight. And hey, listen, how about this? A Thomas parent. Well, thank you for watching, Thomas parent. We'll talk just a little bit about Thomas tonight, and there's a reason why it's going to be just a little bit. So bear with me on that. But anyway, we will go with that. All right, let's go ahead and get started tonight. How about this one? Baker 38, Culver Stockton 7. 2 pick sixes for the Wildcats in the win over the Wildcats. Yeah, I know. Jaleel Lafitte, 26-yard interception return for a touchdown. Deshaun Lewis, 30-yard interception return for a touchdown. We're going beyond the 5 right now. How about Marion getting another win? Top 10 program, top 5 program as well in our NAIA Football poll. I say our, I'm a part of that poll as well. The folks from NAIA Football doing a fantastic job out in Florida to get that done. Marion 44, Lawrence Tech 17, Zach Bundalo, another big day, 15 for 21 passing, 281 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, but he was also 3 for 7 rushing and a rushing touchdown as well. And also for Marion, Jalen Jennings caught 5 of those passes for 114 yards. He had a receiving touchdown too. St. Thomas, coming off the big win over Texas Wesleyan, gets another win into Sun Conference play, and the Bobcats take this one 41-16 over Weber International. Lots of Bobcats making some noise in this one. St. Thomas's Keely Watson at the QB1 position, 10 for 18, 300 yards passing. That's right, 3 large bills, even on this one. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rontavious Farmer, 21 carries, 108 rushing yards. Farmer just continues to carry the load for the Bobcats. David Hayes, 2 receptions, 97 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Sequan Nopierre, 1 carry, 5 rushing yards, but that one was good enough for a touchdown. Oh, and of course, 2 receptions, 70 yards, a receiving touchdown as well. Missouri Baptist, welcome to the Hart Conference. You finally picked up your first win. Spartans over Clark, 31-13. Darius Morrison leading the way, 12 carries, 134 yards on the ground, 1 rushing touchdown. Score from the KCAC, and this one caught my attention, and maybe it caught yours as well. I'm going to give this one just a mild upset, but realistically, I mean, you follow the Coyotes of late. Kansas Wesleyan's a team not to be trifled with, if I can borrow that metaphor from one of my favorite television writers, not to be trifled with. Well, realistically, McPherson could trifle with a lot of folks, but this one, just not a lot for offense. Kansas Wesleyan was up in this one 3-0 until the fourth quarter. Kansas Wesleyan put together 3.9 yards per play. McPherson put together 3.8 yards per play. Ultimately, Tyler Boston, who had 8 rushes for 23 yards. Yeah, I know. 1 rushing touchdown. That was an 8-yard game-winning touchdown. 4 minutes, 4 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And, you look at this and you think, okay, if McPherson has scored 7 points on the day, did they hold Tristan Szabo in check? Well, let's look at his numbers. 29 for 53, 273 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. That was the lone score of the day, but he did have 2 picks on the day, and they also held him in check when he tried to run the ball. 16 carries. Now, I realize not all quarterbacks are going to put up big QB or big rushing numbers, but 16 carries for a grand total of 15 yards. You look at this now and you see, not afraid to go Szabo's way, because with the 53 passes, the 16 carries, he touched the ball 69 times. And really, when you're talking about calling his own number, the Bulldogs had 79 total plays. So they didn't go away from Szabo in this one, just could not convert and put points on the board. The Coyote defense, bend but not break. The attitude, successful in this one. Kansas Wesleyan picks up the 10-7 win. Northwestern, number 1 team in the country, still the number 1 team in the country. They double up on Midland, and the Red Raiders with a big win over the Warriors in this one. Midland, still a very, very strong team. It's hit a rough spot in the schedule right now, and a big win for Northwestern. 18 consecutive wins now, going back to that national championship run last season. 14 consecutive regular season wins. Northwestern, 5 rushing touchdowns. Connor McQuillan with 2. Logan Meyer with 2. Michael Story continues to have a great season for the Red Raiders as well. 7 catches, 141 yards, better than 20 yards a catch, and 1 receiving touchdown. Staying in the G-Pack, Dordt, 61, Hastings, 21. And if there hadn't been the performances there had, this one was going to be one in which we had a special teams player in the top 5. Just didn't make it this time because we had some big performances. Sorry about this, Steven. Steven Linen, 4 for 4 field goals on the day for Dordt. Again, defenders put up 61 points. Field goals of 23, 47, 47, and 58 yards on the day. He was 7 for 7 also in point after attempts. So he was 11 for 11 kicking on the day. 19 points total. The 58-yard field goal, by the way, broke a 20-year-old record in the G-Pack, set a school record as well. Again, Dordt continues to roll now, 61-21 over Hastings. Morningside, 38, Doane, 7. The Mustangs win for the 72nd consecutive time in the regular season. Let's say that again. Morningside, 72nd consecutive regular season victory. And this time, Coach Ryan just said, you know what? We're just going to use both quarterbacks again. Cash Parker through the air, 12 of 19 passing, 205 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Lennox Brown, 7 carries for 53 yards. He threw the ball as well. 11 for 13. Very solid percentage there. 70 passing yards there. Combined, the two went 23 of 32 through the air, 275 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Day at the office for these guys. It really is. Morningside continues to roll. Again, let's say it together this time. 72nd consecutive regular season win. Evangel moving to the Hart I did say Hart Conference. Well, I see Evangel and Avila. These two teams were in the Hart Conference a few years back, both in the KCAC now, the 12-team football league that it is. And Evangel has made itself at home in the KCAC this year. 6-0. All the crossover games have gone to the Valor, including this one, 44-6 over Avila. Evangel gets the win. R.J. Wakely, 21 for 30 passing, 245 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also had 3 carries for 15 yards and a rushing touchdown as well. 4 TDs on the day for Wakely. 2 of those passing touchdowns went to Dylan Hester, who was 10 for 21, 121 yards receiving. Big day for Evangel. This is one that I did not pick right when we got to the portion of the show on Thursday night where we were picking games, and the trend I thought that was going to stop was St. Xavier beating St. Francis of Illinois, and it didn't stop. 25-1 all time now, the Cougars over the Fighting Saints, and oh my goodness, what a dominance that is. But St. Francis had all the earmarks of getting the win in this one. St. Xavier's defense just came alive really when the Cougars needed to come alive. Stopped St. Francis on downs in the closing seconds of the game. This one goes to overtime. After scoring in overtime, St. Xavier's gets the score. Then the Cougars intercept Sam Tumulty on the Fighting Saints possession. 28-21, St. Xavier over St. Francis in this one, and it's just a dominance in this series. Stuart Ross, 15 for 24 passing, 257 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions on the day. Roosevelt continues its farewell tour to the NAIA with a 30-13 victory over St. Ambrose. The Bees are still winless on the season. Tyler Tenner, 13 carries, 188 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 32 carries of 64 total plays. He literally was half the offense for the Lakers on the day. Tabor gets the victory over Bethel. William Green, 19 for 34 passing, 244 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Phenomenal day. And by the way, did you notice I said the Blue Jays get the victory over Bethel? Threshers fall in this one. This was an upset in the KCAC heading into the bye week this next week. Let's go out to the frontier then. College of Idaho, 45. Rocky Mountain, 21. Big day for the Coyotes in Caldwell. 187 yards rushing on the day. Why is that a big stat? Because Rocky Mountain's defense had been holding opponents to 37 yards rushing per game. So 187 yards rushing in that one, almost 4 times as much for the day. 5.9 yards per play to 3.6 yards per play for College of Idaho over Rocky Mountain in this one. Andy Peters on the day, 18 for 39 passing, 229 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He also had 9 carries for 109 yards rushing on the day and a rushing touchdown. 338 yards of total offense for Andy Peters on the day. Found John Schofield in the backfield. He also carried the ball well. 4 carries for 8 yards. Didn't matter. 2 rushing touchdowns. By the way, Caden Young got in and got some time as well. 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown on the day. Lindsey Wilson, 49. Faulkner, 21. Faulkner's Avian Morgan had 2 interceptions on the day. 2 of the 4, by the way, that Faulkner had against Lindsey Wilson. One of them was a pick 6 for 15 yards. Didn't matter. Too much. Tobias Dawson, 22 carries for 90 yards. He had 3 touchdowns on the day. Blue Raiders get another win. Back to the KCAC. Ottawa showing that the Braves can put points on the board. It's going to be interesting in that division. 40-13 victors over the Swedes in this one. Ottawa's Winton Ruth, 19 carries for 133 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, had 1 reception. That was for 28 yards. That was for a touchdown as well. Dickinson State, all over Valley City State, 34-14, the first of 2 times these 2 teams are going to meet this year. Braden Zuroff, 24 carries, 178 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. How about Eastern Oregon picking up the win on Saturday? I told you there were teams that were getting their first win of the season all the way into week 5 and blanking Arizona Christian along the way. How about that one? Not only picking up the win, but pitching the shutout. Quincy Glasper, 22 for 32 passing, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, threw for 68.8% on the day, his completions, and 10.4 yards per attempt. 10.4 yards per attempt. Every time that Glasper threw the ball, they averaged getting a first down. Malachi Spurrier had 8 catches for 152 of those yards and 1 touchdown on the day. Montana Tech, 31. Southern Oregon, 21. And the Ore Diggers get a big day from Wyatt Alexander. 7 catches, 43 yards. He had 1 touchdown on the day. Montana Tech, I think, is quietly just taking care of business right now, putting themselves in a position to be playing in the month of November in the postseason. Just have to keep on rolling here. Mid-American Nazarene, 41. Graceland, 21. Let's talk about this one for just a moment, because I said, would Adrian Parsons' performance be enough to get it in the top 5? Well, you see where we are right now. We're still in the Beyond the 5 segment. So no, it didn't get in the top 5, which means we have some pretty good top 5 performances in the NAIA in week number 5. Mid-American Nazarene, 20 points better than Graceland, 41-21. And for Graceland, Cade Ross, who did this without Gerald Monroe, 28 of 60 passing, threw the ball 60 times, 265 yards passing. Of course, you see there the passing percentage, a little bit less than 50% on the day. Had 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks. Now, Reggie Wilson did his part to try to pick up the slack. 8 receptions, 107 yards receiving, had 1 touchdown on the day. Meanwhile, Adrian Parsons continuing to roll. One of the top 5 passers in the NAIA this year, had a 250-yard passing day, 15 for 25, 60% completion there. 4 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. His numbers are still good enough to be number 3 in the NAIA following week 5. And of course, we mentioned last week had a 90-yard touchdown pass to Arlandis Mitchell, tied a school record with the length of that touchdown pass. And the two said, you know what, maybe we could do better this week. A 92-yard touchdown pass from Parsons to Mitchell, who had, by the way, 2 catches on the day. One of them was that 92-yard touchdown reception. E.J. Rogers, by the way, had 3 catches on the day as well for 130 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns. Pioneers now 5-1 as the Hart Conference is going into the bye week as well. Nice way to head into divisional play. Concordia, 24 over Division II Wayne State out of Michigan. Concordia trailed late in this one by 9, 23-14. A field goal in the fourth quarter, and then it was Gavin Brooks to Seeger to Gaynor. 42 yards away from the goal line. They get it done and in for the score with 24 seconds left. Gavin Brooks, 24 of 42 passing, 271 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception on the day. And for Chuggapug 77, we didn't get as much information on this one because we did get it late. Kaiser 44, Thomas 12. And wondering about this one, it was a rain delay out east. Excuse me. It's out west. It's back east. Sorry. Rain delay back east. Jaden Meisinger for Kaiser led the way. 17 carries, 159 rushing yards, better than 9 yards per carry, 4 rushing touchdowns on the day. Kaiser 44, Thomas 12. The Nighthawks are continuing to push on along, not yet able to pick up that elusive NAIA victory. But again, big fan of the program, and Coach Mitchins out there. Definitely want to see them do well because of what they're putting together, but it's not going to happen against the defending runners-up. 44-12, Kaiser with the victory over Thomas in that one. Another 10-7 score, and I'll tell you what, this is one of those where you've got a matchup between 2 quarterbacks that are having fantastic seasons in the NAIA. Jackson Dooley for Benedictine, great season. Sterling Ramsey II, great season. These two combined to throw this many touchdown passes on the day and this many interceptions on the day. That's right. No touchdown passes between the two, Jackson Dooley and Sterling Ramsey, and 7 interceptions. 10-7, the final there. Benedictine, by the way, gets the win and continues to move on along. 4-2 now on the season. The Ravens are in a good position going into divisional play there, and it's going to be interesting when Benedictine matches up with Mid-American Nazarene a little bit later on. But the Pioneers offense shining on Saturday. Ravens offense, not so much. Florida Memorial, 56, Ave Maria 13, George Young with 2 rushing touchdowns, Walter Wilbon with 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown on the day. Gyrene's fall in this one. 2 undefeated teams coming in, 1 undefeated when it left. Bethel, the Wildcats, 30, Cumberland's 10. Cumberland's fall for the first time in 2023. Bethel, now 5-0 on the year, 17 straight wins in the regular season. For Bethel. Had that playoff loss last year in the first round, and I know that that's something that they've been thinking about. That's bulletin board material right there. They want to push a little bit further, but don't want to lose in the regular season while they're at it, and haven't yet in 2023, as they did not in 2022. 17 consecutive regular season wins, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Cumberland's 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. It was very symmetrical scoring all the way through. Jalen Taylor for the Wildcats had 6 catches for 101 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Campbellsville, 34, Cumberland, 16. Jagger Gillis continues to shine. Another of those top 5 passing quarterbacks in the NAIA. 20 for 28, 295 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, no interceptions on the day. Friends, 55, Sterling, 17. This is the score that Jake Redcorn was waiting for, I know, because I'm sure he knows it already. By the way, if you're watching us live, thank you very much for watching us here on this Sunday night. Please let us know from where you are watching here as we're continuing to talk about NAIA football on tonight's show on Midwest Sports Net. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe as well. All right, Jake, here we go. Numbers I'm sure you're familiar with already. 55-17, the final. Friends, 534 yards rushing. That's not on the season. That was Saturday. 534 yards rushing. For the season, it is 2,691 yards rushing. This is through 6 games this year. The Falcons are averaging 448.5 yards per game rushing, 34 rushing touchdowns for the year. Amazing. Sterling, by the way, ran back the opening kickoff. Trey Dixon, 96 yards, gone. And that pretty much was the high point for Sterling on the day. Friends moved along. The Warriors kept it close to their credit, but then Friends opened things up. A 34-3 fourth quarter. Cavante Baker, 17 carries, 138 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns. He was 1 for 5 passing on the day, completed 1 for 8 yards. And by the way, Jake had mentioned they might be going to the air a little bit more. This game said nothing of the kind. Those 8 yards passing, that was the total of the passing offense for the day. The rest of it was 534 yards on the ground. 3 players crossed the century mark in rushing on the day. We mentioned Baker with his 138. How about Jet Cheatham? 6 carries, 132 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. Elias Pino, 9 carries, 110 yards rushing, and 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. Falcons continue to roll. They roll right on into the bye week, and it's going to be an interesting time for rest for teams in the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference as well as the Heart of America Conference. We'll talk about that a little bit more on Thursday night. How about another team picking up its first win? Well, someone had to win in this one. It was North American that did over Texas College down to the wire. 30-26, the Stallions over the Steers. North American, 3 offensive touchdowns on the day, all of them Griffin Williams to Jason Reeves. That was the connection that worked all day. Why not keep on going with it? North American also had a punt return for a touchdown that proved to be the game winner. Kevin Jamerson got that return for a touchdown. 4 minutes, 42 seconds left in the game. The Stallions go on top by 4, and they're able to hold that lead. We're wrapping up our Beyond the 5 segment right here, just about to get to the top 5 performances of the week as we are cruising on along. We may get there before we hit the half-hour mark. Hope so. Southwestern 38, St. Mary 20 on the day. Braden Howell, 17 for 24 passing, 339 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns. Gave up an interception as well. 9 carries for 43 yards, 1 rushing touchdown for Howell. Mound Builders are rolling into the bye week. Olivet Nazarene, 58. Judson, 14. Brandon Odom, the transfer from Central Missouri, 20 for 27 passing, 290 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and no picks. And by the way, Odom's seen action all the way through, but this really was a breakout game for Odom for the Tigers. Blake Lamb with 5 catches, 111 yards receiving. 3 of those touchdowns, the 4 touchdowns that Odom threw went to Blake Lamb. 3 receiving touchdowns on the day. Indiana Wesleyan, 48. Siena Heights, 12. Indiana Wesleyan, 14 consecutive regular season wins. They're continuing to roll. How about Xander Stokes? 28 for 40 passing. 314 yards passing. 70% completion percentage. 3 passing touchdowns. No interceptions. And of those 314 passing yards, 237 of them went to Levi Tidwell. Set a school record. If this sounds familiar, it should. He set a school record for receiving for the 2nd consecutive week. Tidwell, last week, 10 catches for 190 yards receiving. This week, 13 catches, 237 yards receiving. Oh, and by the way, he caught a couple of them for touchdowns as well. So he pretty much scored as much as Siena Heights did with his 12 points on the day. Stokes, big day. Tidwell, big day. And we still have the top 5 on the way. Grandview, 65. Central Methodist, nothing. And that seems like it's a score that the Eagles would have posted last season. Grandview shut them out this year. Hasn't lost, by the way. The Vikings haven't lost to a Hart South team since 2018. Jackson Waring, 9 for 12 passing on the day. Well, he didn't need to do that much because the defense took care of business. 157 passing yards, still connected 4 times for touchdown passes on the day, threw no interceptions. Oh, and had 1 carry. That was for 57 yards and a rushing touchdown too. Jackson Waring, 5 touchdowns for the day that he was responsible for. Grandview had 5 passing touchdowns, and this looked like it was a carryover from the Missouri Valley victory last weekend, as Grandview took down Missouri Valley 70-7. This time the scoring margin was not 63, or the winning margin not 63, it was 65. And Grandview scored again any way it wanted to. 5 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 punt blocked for a touchdown, 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown, 1 interception returned for a touchdown, and a safety. 65 points on the board for Grandview. All right, we've come now to the portion of the program where we talk about the top 5 performances. And I have to tell you, which, by the way, again, if you're watching us live, please let us know from where you're watching. And thank you very much for being a part of the broadcast tonight. The top 5 performances, we always enjoy looking up and researching and watching some of the games online over the course of a Saturday and seeing some of the highlights on the course of a Sunday and getting all these things together. But as you can probably tell, there are just too many good performances to not go beyond just the top 5. We want to talk about what all is happening throughout NAIA football. And so, man, so many big performances this week. So I guess I don't want to delay any farther. Let's go ahead and get to those top 5. Here is this week's top 5 performances. You know any of those names? Maybe this is someone for a team that you cheer for. Let's start at the top, and we'll go with someone on the defensive side of the ball. Peru State went 0-4 to start the season. Back-to-back wins, including a big win over Missouri Valley, who, by the way, has had back-to-back losses now. Bobcats over the Vikings, 48-31. Let's talk about a few other players as we get to this. Peru State on defense had 4 interceptions. 3 of them were pick sixes, 4 sacks, and also blocked a punt and returned that for a touchdown as well. Big homecoming win for Peru State on the day. Keon Henry Brooks, 20 carries, 181 yards rushing. We've talked about Jordan Kemp here. He's made our top 5 performances before. He had 5 catches for 99 yards on the day, 2 receiving touchdowns. He's currently tied for second in the NAIA in receiving touchdowns with 9 total on the season. Duke McClinton had 6 tackles for that Peru State defense, 1 interception. And by the way, for Missouri Valley, Eddie Strong, Valiant effort on the day, 9 catches, 192 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. But we've said more than once here on the program that if you're on defense, it seems like it's a little bit harder to make those top 5 performances. But if you pull off not one, but at least 2 pick sixes on the day, we're going to find a way to put you in the top 5 performances. And that's exactly what Ashley Thompson did. 7 tackles on the day. He had 3 interceptions, not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions on the day, and 2 of them were run back for touchdowns. Matter of fact, it looked like the Missouri Valley was finding him with their passes, more than most of the other players. 3 interceptions, pick sixes of 6 yards and 66 yards. I don't know about that number, 666 like that off a pick six. We'll just brush on by that really quickly. Congratulations to Ashley Thompson, and congratulations to Peru State heading into the bye week with another victory, taking some momentum in now. Dakota Wesleyan, 51. Mount Marty, 45. Double overtime victory for the Tigers, who move now to 5-1, best start since 2015. And it was a big, big day, especially for Jamin Aaron. Dakota Wesleyan was trailing and tied the game with 48 seconds left. It was 38-38 heading into overtime. And Mount Marty scored in the first overtime to push it on through, had a field goal blocked in the second overtime, which set things up for Dakota Wesleyan. And for Coach Ross Simple, as the day wore on, Jamin Aaron just continued. It looked to get stronger over the course of the day. And it was all Jamin Aaron when it got to overtime and double overtime. First overtime, the Tigers get the ball first, and Coach Simple called Jamin Aaron, touchdown. Jamin Aaron carries of 6 yards, 12 yards, and 7 yards. Yes, that adds up to 25. And Dakota Wesleyan in for the score. Mount Marty tied it up at 45 apiece. We go to double overtime. Mount Marty gets a field goal block. Dakota Wesleyan with an opportunity to win. What should they do? Oh, my goodness, whatever shall they do? Get on the Jamin Aaron train and ride. Jamin Aaron. Carries of 4 yards, 15 yards, 1 yard, 3 yards, and 2 yards. And that's right. If you're scoring at home, that means 25 yards. Touchdown, Jamin Aaron. 36 carries on the day, 212 yards rushing. That's a career high. 5 rushing touchdowns. That's a program record. His touchdowns of 7 to 28 to. Oh, and by the way, early in the game, he fumbled the ball, recovered his own fumble in the end zone for a score. Jamin Aaron, big day for Dakota Wesleyan, and the Tigers in the GPAC are putting themselves in a very good position in the standings, looking to see if they can make it into the postseason. Big day for Jamin Aaron. How about OUAZ, the Spirit, led by Luke Giron in this one, 59-6 victors over Wayland Baptist. Luke Giron had a huge day. 80% passing on the day, 20 of 25 through the air, 346 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. He wasn't done. He had 2 carries, amassed 4 yards, didn't matter, enough to make it into the end zone for 1 more. Luke Giron, 6 touchdowns that he was responsible for on the day. And he did get help from a little of his friends. He wasn't the only one carrying the ball. Stephen Bradford, 17 carries, 119 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Jordan Wilmore, 14 carries, 115 yards rushing, and a touchdown. But Luke Giron, the big day for the OUAZ Spirit. We move on along. Let's go on down. Pikeville, 52, Union, 10. Lee Kirkland and Derek Griffith. Let's go with Derek Griffith for just a moment. Derek Griffith, 10 receptions on the day, 233 yards receiving, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Very good day. Griffith has the single game record now for Pikeville, first across 200 yards receiving. He did it because of the way that Lee Kirkland threw the ball. 38 completions on the day, school record. 58 attempts on the day, school record. 614 yards passing on the day, by all means a school record and an Appalachian Athletic Conference record. He threw not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 passing touchdowns on the day. 1 interception. By the way, that tied a school record. But Kirkland, big time, 6 touchdowns, 614 yards passing. Amazing, amazing day for Kirkland and Griffith. 52-10, the Bears win. Texas Wesleyan is coming off a loss to St. Thomas. We talked about that last week. Turn things around, and really sometimes it helps to have the right opponent, and they did, taking on Arkansas Baptist, as the Rams blew out the Buffaloes 62-0. Now, Ernest Caesar still trying to get things going again. Decent day on the ground, 14 carries, 142 yards rushing. Didn't have a rushing touchdown. However, he was still able to score. Caesar with 2 receiving touchdowns, 2 catches, combined for 58 yards. Both of those receptions went in for scores. Ernest Caesar with 2 scores on the day. A.J. Bob had only 1 receiving touchdown. That's off his average, as he'd had 2 receiving touchdowns in each of the 3 previous games. Still 7 receiving touchdowns on the season. He had 3 catches, really all he needed for the day, for 122 yards. But the big numbers on the day came from Cole Francis. Now, Francis came in last week and got some time. The redshirt freshman got to see some action in the game against St. Thomas. The Rams fell short to the Bobcats in that one. We've talked about it before. It really was a must-win game for St. Thomas. Texas Wesleyan back in conference play today, and Cole Francis gets the start. What does he do with that start? 12 for 20 passing, 60% completion on the day, 306 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions on the day. He had the clean sheet going on and definitely made the most of it. 5 passing touchdowns. But wait, there's more. 8 carries, 18 yards rushing on the day, 2 rushing touchdowns. So let's put that together. 7 touchdowns that he was responsible for on the day. Cole Francis, 7 touchdowns. An amazing day for a redshirt freshman for the Rams. I'll tell you what, this is going to be interesting as Texas Wesleyan looks ahead, and there's going to be a big matchup with Louisiana Christian a little bit later on. So we go back over our top 5 performances one more time as we wrap things up here on this Sunday night. Again, thanks for watching the live stream here. Peru State 48-31 over Missouri Valley, and it was Ashley Thompson with 3 interceptions, 2 of them pick sixes. Dakota Wesleyan, double overtime victory. Jamin Aaron, 5 rushing touchdowns, 36 carries for 212 yards, a career high. Luke Giron for OUAZ in a 59-6 victory over Wayland Baptist, 5 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown on the day. Lee Kirkland, 38 for 58 passing, 614 passing yards, 6 passing touchdowns, and 2 of them went to Derek Griffith, who had 10 catches for 233 yards. And then, of course, we just mentioned Cole Francis, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not even 6, 7 touchdowns on the day, 12 for 20 passing, 306 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Congratulations to all the folks that we talked about here today. And we have another big week of NAIA football ahead. And we'll have a few more things here on the channel, so please tune in over the course of the week. Tell a friend, by the way, as Jake Redcorn mentioned. By the way, thanks to everyone for watching tonight. Chugapug, Jake, and everyone, thank you for being a part of the broadcast. If you've been watching this live stream, thank you very much. If you're watching the replay and you are still watching right now, you are an amazing trooper, and I thank you very much for being a part of it. So please subscribe to the channel and continue to enjoy the videos here on Midwest Sportsnet. More NAIA football as we're in the month of October now. And hopefully the weather cools off a little bit. We will have more things on the channel. And again, our live stream on Thursday night to preview week 6 in the NAIA. Thanks again for watching. Sure to appreciate you all. God bless you. Have a great night.